Hey, this is Simon from the Bracketeer. I wasn't able to make Southwest E-Cars and Coffee last week, but not to worry. James kept an eye on things for us, and Jay and Robert did a great job as always taking some photographs, so I've put them together into a bit of a video overview for you. First of all, Michael's beautiful McLaren 720S. This thing is such a great car. James went for a ride in it with him and he couldn't wait to call me and tell me what a great car it is. So Michael, thanks so much for bringing that along each week. There were more than one McLaren there. We got this one we can see here coming up, this beautiful black one, and also a really nice green 570S as well. So great to have the McLarens out in force. Also a lot of Porsches, this beautiful GT3 RS in purple, and Tony brought along his really nice silver GT3, really nice looking car. It took the eye of a local weatherman, Dallas Rains, who's become one of our regulars. Dallas, great to have you along. It's always great to have celebrities at the event. He also took a liking to Jay's Ford GT as well. I think Jay was kind of proud of that as well. So great to have the turn up of celebrities. This is Kathleen and Scott's beautiful Ferrari. Not the only one there this morning, another one as well. Also a really nice Aston Martin. We can see here this thing belongs to Paul. Another really nice AMG here, looking great. Onto a Maserati, really nice looking car, and another Porsche as well. As I mentioned, quite a few Porsches there this week. This one we can see here, and then the yellow one as well. Really nice to see. Really nice Audi R8. Such a great car with that. I think this one's the V10 in it. Lambo. A couple of these today. This one and also this really nice looking blue one. Love the colour of that car. Looked really, really good. Plenty of red Ferraris to go around too. We can see one here. Another one here. And then another one. And then, of course, moving along to one that's a regular for us. Dave's a really nice one, of course. Still holds the world record, official record for the Cannonball around this particular car. If you want to know more about it, go back to our recent Cars of the Week, and I did a feature on this particular car. It sounds tough as well. It's got a modified cams in it. Onto this beautiful 31 Chrys. It was a Car of the Week a number of weeks ago. Once again, just such an original looking car. I mean, this thing certainly deserved the title of Car of the Week. Look at that. All the bits and pieces that came with it. A couple of really good looking hot rods, 32 we can see here, and then onto a really cool looking T-bucket with that great looking gold plated radiator. Quite a few trucks, this beautiful old late 30s Chevy, another one here, and then onto Dan's really nice delivery van we can see here, which looks great. So many classic cars from the 40s and 50s as well we can see through here. Really great to see them all lined up. I love the variety of different vehicles we're getting along. Look at this one. It's a bit of a Woody. Another one here. And yet onto another one as well. Just a great looking old car, great Woody. And of course this old 1940 Ford. These things famous of course for the original old Moonshine runners, and then of course became the very first NASCARs that we saw. And it didn't stop there, even more, this old beautiful Mercury Woody as well. And then on to a great looking 57 Chevy we featured before as well, or talked about in details. Really nice looking Corvette. Love that silver and white, looks really good. Another one here, and then alongside of it as well with a red one as well. Great looking cars. And then moving right along, beautiful old Chevy convertible, looking good with a big block in it. Great looking sort of resto mod looking car on this one. A couple of El Caminos, this one here, running a big block, another one here. Onto this, the regular, we get a 65 Buick Riviera, great looking car. Onto this nice looking white GTO. And then onto this great looking one here. Isn't that great, that GTO? Great seeing them lined up. 67 Firebird, I think it's 67 with the corner windows. Onto this really nice Rally Green. Love that colour with the white stripes. 69 Camaro. Rally spelt with an E on the end. Onto a bit of a later GTO. I love those covered headlights on this thing. Yellow Corvette. Great looking car. Onto a white C7. Really nice looking car as well. One of the regulars that comes along. Always great to have this car along. Nice looking wheels on this. Very quick car. If you've ever heard that thing pull in, it's a really tough sounding car. Onto James's 1LE Camaro, really nice. And then onto Dane's really nice looking. Actually, that one wasn't Dane's. Sorry, that one's the supercharged one. One of the other guys that comes along. Holden, or known as the Chevy SS Mustang. Onto another early Mustang. Great looking car. Really nicely done. Looks good in the red. On to Roberts Celine in that great looking paintwork that changes colours, and another one, earlier one as well. And that changing colour Kenny Bell supercharger on that guy. Looking good. And then on to another shot of Roberts' car here as well. Looks great in the different angles, that thing. Pulling in the crowds. Everybody likes to get the shots taken next to Roberts' cars. Share the rainbow, he says. On to some Mustangs now. I've got one pulling in here. All of the regular crowd lined up here. And then Mustang Alley. Got a Shelby there, lined up with the rest of the guys. And that thing looked great in red. And then another one next to it in black. That thing looks really, really good. And then, of course, another one here. Such a great body shape. These things, to me, look, got that real look of the 65, 66 Mustangs. They look great. On to this really nice-looking Bronco. It's a regular as well. Look at the detail of the diff under the front of this thing. They're pulling big bucks these days. Really great to see that they're returning. Great, it's an appropriate time as well with O.J. Simpson getting out of prison. Onto an old Falcon Ute. We actually had these in Australia as well, built in Australia with a slightly different grille, but great looking truck. Onto this one as well. Look at the louvered hood on this thing. Looks really, really great. And this one sitting down in the weeds with that air ride looking great as well. Onto a bit of Mopar stuff coming up here. Look at this thing. 426 sitting there with those dual carbs. Looks so good. And then onto this one as well. Love the wheels on this thing. The hubcaps look great. Check that thing out. Really great looking vehicle. Love the old Dodgers. Another shot of it here. A lot of shots of this thing. I think it caught the eyes of both Jay and Robert. They obviously really like the look of this thing. So great to see. On to another regular we see, this Roadrunner that we see pulling in all the time. Great story about this car. I spoke to the owners a while back. When they brought it home, it wouldn't fit in their garage, so they had to push the garage wall out into the adjoining wall to fit that, adjoining room to fit that long nose of that Roadrunner in there. So great story. Look at that fin. And I don't know, a lot of people don't know this. You can actually adjust the back of that fin. It is actually adjustable to give it more downforce if you want to as well. The difference between the production one, there's actually a cord that attaches it, so if it got knocked off in racing, so the racing and the regular street ones, it didn't fly off. Another great looking car. Look at this thing. I think this thing's got a 440 in it from memory as well. Really, yeah, there you go. Really good looking car. Love the orange of these things. They just look really, really great. Big rubber on the back. Great colours from that area. On to a more recent bit of Mopar muscle. Look at this thing. Looks the Viper. So great. Sad they finished that off. A Prowler, of course, designed by Mr. Chip Foose. And then onto a Bricklin. Another Bricklin, I think it's called. Yeah, there we go. Bricklin. Great looking car from the 70s. Onto a Shelby replica. And then onto that great looking Daytona. Looks really, really good, doesn't it? Great looking car, these things. And then onto another Shelby replica, Cobra replica, and another one. And then this final one here looking good too. Another car that was a regular a couple of weeks ago we featured was this little Mazda with this triple rotor, and a great looking car. Go back and look at that. Really cool looking Supra. Check that thing out. Looks really, really cool. Look at that carbon fibre under the hood of this thing. Looks great. Onto an Infinity. And then we had a turn up of some Hondas, this little Civic here and another one next to it. These things are doing some good track times around Nürburgring as well. A little S2000. Not a lot of torque, but these things rev incredibly. A little turbocharger on this thing. Looks great. Onto another Civic. And as we move along onto a couple of Lexus sitting side by side. Really good looking blue. A little Mitsubishi and STI Subaru sitting there onto this beautiful Fairlady. Great engine bay in this thing. Check that thing out. Looks so good. Really great looking little car. Love the wheels on it too. These things start to pull big money as well. Onto some classic Porsches, some 356s lined up. This really lovely looking green one here. Great colour. Really good looking car. And then onto a little Speedster here. Look at in black. Looks really, really cool. And this cream, the colours just of this era looking so great. Onto something a little bit later. And then onto some Volkswagen. Keep it in the family. A couple of Beetles side by side. This one here. Look at the back wheels, the camber on these things. Onto another regular. This is what I call the twin engine. It's got two spare engines. It's got the one in the trunk and the one in the back of this thing. You probably saw there's another engine sitting in here. This thing looks great. Love those flip-out windshields at the front. Looking really, really cool. And the engine in this thing is such a neat, they've done such a neat job of it. Look at it. Looking really, really good. Onto yet another Beetle. This one sitting here. A couple of shots of this guy. Look at it. And then next to another lineup, the blue one onto a really cool looking green one. And then onto this red one that was sitting next to it as well in a convertible. And then, of course, the one we see is a regular engineering feat. This thing running a 427 in it, of all things. The guy actually sits in the back seat, carbon gear. And then keeping in the German family onto the Mercedes-Benz, looks great in silver. And then onto BMW, looking good. And then a really cool looking Audi. Great colour. It looks really cool, that colour on that thing. Classic BMW with a V12, and then on to a really nice looking yellow Austin Healey with those great wire wheels, classic British car. Another classic British car, this TR6. And then one that caused a lot of controversy, you either liked it or you hated it, this flamed out Rolls Royce. I say all power to the guy for having the kahunas to do it. A really nice little Lotus. And then on to a van that we've been seeing around at Cars and Coffee ever since the Irvine days, 6 or 7 years ago. I remember seeing this thing, running a blown small block Chev sitting backwards in the back of the van and then using a Marine V-drive to kick the drive shaft back in the direction of the diff. A lot of engineering gone into this thing, a lot of good welding as well. I bet I could do some crazy wheel stands, not that I want them to do it in the parking lot of the outlets, but great to see. And last but not least, this 6-wheel drive historic army truck. Great to have such a really cool vehicle at South OC Cars and Coffee. Well, that's it for another week. Hope you had a great week. I will see you back next week for another South OC Cars and Coffee. See you then.